Okay, remember we've been talking about solving equations, and an equation is an expression with an equal sign in it, okay? So, and remember that in a term like this, right, negative 8x, this is your, what do we call it? Do you remember? Coefficient. And this is the variable. Okay? So you're always solving for the variable. Alright? So when you have an equation, you're moving numbers and terms from one side of the equation to the other. You need to perform what we call opposite operation. Okay? We talked about that yesterday as well. To both sides of the equation. So the ultimate goal is you want all the terms with the variable on one side, and then on the other side you want all the constant terms. So that's the numbers, the terms that don't have any letters. Okay? So all the letters, the terms with the letters on the side, and then all the constant on the other side with the equal in between them. Remember that if your operation is a positive, and then you're moving it, you're bridging the equal sign, what does your operation become? What's the opposite of positive? Negative. So the opposite operation is negative. So when you bridge it over, it's gonna become negative. If the operation is negative, you bridge it over, it becomes positive. If you're multiplying and you bridge over, opposite of multiplication is division. And if you're dividing, bring it over, it becomes multiplication. The last number eliminated from an equation is the number that's in front of the letter. Okay? It's the number in front of the variable. Okay? Which in other terms we call it the coefficient. Okay? So for example, if I have something that looks like this, the last term that I want to get rid of is this term. Because that's the coefficient that's in front of the variable. That's the last thing I want to get rid of. So I want to get rid of the 2 first, bring it over. Then I will get rid of the 3 later. I'll show you how we do that. Okay? Now, can you guys tell me what kind of operation do I have between the 3 and the x? What's happening between them? Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, what's happening? 3x, what does that mean? Multiplication, 3 times x, right? We don't write that times, it's 3x. Now, if I want to move that 3 over, it's a multiplication. When you move it over, what does it become? Division, okay? Because the opposite operation of multiplication is division, okay? So to eliminate the coefficient, do the opposite operation to both sides. So do the opposite operation multiplication, right? In this case, it's multiplication. You have to do division, okay? But in other cases, if you have something that looks like this, for example, if you have something that looks like this, right? What kind of operation do I have here? What's happening here? Division. So if I want to bring it over at the end, what do I bring it over as? Multiplication. Okay? So you have to ask yourself, what kind of operation do I have between the variable and the coefficient? Is it a division? Then when you bring it over, it becomes a multiplication. Or is it a multiplication? So when you bring it over, it becomes a division. But remember, the last thing you want to get rid of is that coefficient. Okay? So let's look at this. If I want to solve this, the first thing I want to move over, the 3x plus 2 equals -1. The first thing I want to move over is the 2. What does it become when I move it over? Negative, right? Because it's a positive, right? So you're adding 2. To move it over, you're going to subtract 2. So I will have 3x equals -1 take away 2. What's -1 take away 2? You're at -1, so you owe me $1, and now you owe me an extra $2. How much do you owe me? 3. So that's -3. Right? Yeah. Eyes on the board for a second, please. Now, this is when we have to get rid of the coefficient. Okay? I have no other term, nothing else except the coefficient and the variable. Okay? So bring the 3 over. I have to bring it as a. What's happening between the 3 and the x? What's happening here? Multiplication. When you bring it over as a division. So it'll be x equals -3 divided by 3, which is -1. Do you understand that? Okay? Now, let's look at this example here. So x divided by 3 plus 1 equals 2. What's the first thing I want to get rid of? The 1, right? It's a plus 1, so when I move it over, it becomes negative. So that's 2 take away 1. 2 take away 1 is 1. Now, what I have left is that 3. What kind of operation do I have between the x and the 3? Division. I bring it over, it becomes multiplication. So that would be x 1 times 3, which is 3. Does that make sense? Okay, let's look at this example. So I have x minus 4 equals to 12. What do? I want to isolate, solve for x.
Bring the 4 over.
Yeah, what does it become?
On the other side of the equal sign.
And it becomes a
plus 4.
plus 4. So that's x equals 16. And I'm done. Right? Your ultimate goal is to have the letter by itself. With nothing with it. No negatives, no positives, no numbers. Right? It's the letter by itself. Now, for the second equation, I have more terms. I have 5x plus 3 equals to 4x minus 12. What do I have to do here? Remember, I might have to do more than one step. And remember, I told you I want the letters, the terms with the letters on one side, and the terms with the number on the other side.
You can prove the
So I can move this over.
Yeah.
And what does it become when I move it over? Negative 4x. How about if I move this over? What does it become? A negative, right? Because you want the letters. So you see here 5x take away 4x. So now I have the like terms on one side. And then I have the negative 12 take away 3. That's another like terms on the other side. So I separated them. Okay? So if you look at this, 5x take away 4x is 5, you're taking away 4, so 1x. And then you have negative 12, you owe me 12, and now you owe me 3 more. Negative 50. And again, it's done. Okay? So I deal with this one is I have to move the like terms to the same side. Now help me with the next one. What do I have to do first? What's the thing that I have to get rid of first? The negative 5. When I bring it over, what does it become? Positive. Remember that the term comes with the sign right in front of it. Okay, they belong with each other. So 2x equals 11 plus 5. So 2x equals 11 plus 5 is 16. So I got rid of that. I only have 2x equals 16. How can I solve for x? What kind of operation do I have between the 2 and the x? Multiplication. So when I bring the 2 over, it becomes division. So x equals 16 divided by 2. So that is 8. Done. You guys have to ask yourself the questions that I'm asking here at the board. What kind of operation do I have? What happens when I bring it to the other side? Okay? All right. You guys done copying this? Copy this down. It's just saying the same thing that I already said. You're looking at the number, which is right here, and that's called the coefficient. I've said that so many times that you should know that by now. That is called the coefficient, and the coefficient of the term is the last thing to leave the equation. So what do you see in D? What do I have to do here?
Bring the 5x and make it a minus.
That's right. Bring the 5x to the left. Make it a negative 5x.
Throw the 11 over and make it a positive.
That's correct. So I'm doing a double change here. Moving this over here. Moving this over here. Okay?
Does it matter which one you do first or
no? You're moving both of them. I'm moving both of them at the same time. Okay? Because I don't want to write too many steps. If you want to move each at a different time, it doesn't matter. Right? But I'm moving both at the same time. The important part is that this becomes a negative and this becomes a positive, because this was a positive. The 5x is a positive. When you bring it over, it becomes a negative. And the negative 11 becomes a positive when you bring it over. What's 3x take away 5x? Negative 2x. negative 2x equals to 14. How do I get rid of that negative 2?
Divided by.
That's right, divide the term by.
Divided by 2.
By negative 2 actually, okay? You see, because it's negative 2 times x, so I have to bring this whole thing over, and it becomes a division. So it's 14, when I'm 14 divided by negative 2, okay? Because I'm already changing the operation from multiplication to division, okay? So you divide by the negative 2. So that is x equals to negative 7.
Is it always multiplication if it's the number in front of the variable?
That's right.
Even
That's
if
right.
it's not an x, yeah, it's still
What do you mean?
the variable, it's not an x, so
So if it's like negative 2b,
yeah.
yeah, it's still multiplication. Remember, yesterday I told you this is a multiplication, this is a multiplication, this is a multiplication.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yep.
Yeah, so all of these are considered multiplication. What should I do with E? Bring 13 over and make it negative 13, that's good. What else?
Bring 2x.
Yeah.
Over and make it negative 2x.
Excellent. Good. So that's going to be 8x, take away 3x, minus 2x equals to negative 26 minus 13. Good? So like terms are on the same side. 8 take away 3, that is 5. Take away 2, that's 3x. Equals to negative 39. Last step, divide by 3, right? Because you have to get rid of this 3, bring it over, it becomes division by 3. And the answer is going to be negative 13. Okay? Remember that I really recommend that you use your calculator when you're doing this so you don't make mistakes just because you're not sure of your integers. Okay? What we're learning right now is we're learning how to solve, not how to add integers. I want you guys to use your calculator first. Okay? So moving to a more complicated question. So you see in this one, which is F, I have brackets, right? And I have many terms. What did we say yesterday? What's the first thing you want to get rid of? The brackets, right? And we want to get rid of the brackets by doing what we call the distributive property. We don't just remove the brackets like that, okay? There is a rule, there is math rules, right? Remember the distributive property is when I distribute that number in front of the bracket to every term inside of the bracket. So, right? So what would I have? What's that? What am I doing with the 4 and the 2?
So like 8x.
I'm multiplying them, it will become 8x, that's right. Okay? And the 4 and the negative 3, what does that give me?
8x minus 12.
12, that's right. Excellent. Now that 6 is going to stay the same, right? Because it's there, plus 6 equals. Looking at this, I have 7 minus 6x in bracket. But is there anything else that's affecting them? Invisible 1, right? Which is 1 doesn't do anything to it. Because 1 times 7 is 7. 1 times negative 6 is negative 6. Right? So in this case, the bracket had no need. Okay? They just put it to mess with us. Okay? and then plus 5. So the first step, remove the bracket and apply the distributive property theorem. Now it's a normal one that you've seen earlier. Move the x's to one side. So what do I have to move to this side?
86.
So the negative 6x, it becomes positive 6x, right? And then these have to move to the other side because they're both numbers. So I have 7 plus 5 plus 12 minus 6. Are we okay with that? So the 7 plus 5, to take away 12 becomes plus 12, and the plus 6 becomes negative 6. Are we good? Okay? 8x plus 6x is 14x equals to, is it 18? Is that right? So 14x equals to 18. Now what do I have to do? Divide by?
18 negative 14.
By 14. You don't change the sign when you divide.
Doesn't?
No. The only time you change the sign if you're adding a subtraction.
Okay.
Right? So this stays the same. Okay? So it's 18 divided by 14, you're gonna get a decimal. Right? What's 18 divided by 14? 1.28. Okay? And that would be your answer. Okay? You can leave it as 18 over 14 if you want, or you can put it in this. Are we okay with that?